My name's Amanda Blair. I'm a professor in the Department of Animal Science, and I also serve as our state meat science extension specialist. A lot of my research efforts, since I have a research and extension appointment, but primarily my research in general focuses on understanding management factors that impact beef quality. And I've utilized the Cottonwood station in a lot of different aspects for that research, because most of what I've been able to do leading projects and collaborating on projects has been looking at pre-harvest factors or management systems that affect and understanding how they affect beef quality. So for example, we've worked at the Cottonwood station for a line of research involving fetal programming. So that's essentially an interest in how we feed cows during gestation and how that can impact the growth, development, and subsequent performance and carcass traits of their offspring. So here at Cottonwood, we've done research investigating primarily mid and late gestation because from a carcass standpoint, that's where the primary, most of the muscle cells are developed, and also the initiation of fat development is in mid-gestation into late gestation. So we've targeted that window, and that's also typically a time in spring calving cow herds when, if you're thinking about the fall and into the winter where we might have some lower quality forages available, or we're having to make decisions about supplementing our cows. So we just really have a general interest in how some of those management decisions that are made on those cows during gestation might impact the developing fetus. A lot of times we're worried about the cow and maybe the calf that we're going to wean off of her, but sometimes we forget about the gestating calf inside. So we've done things here at Cottonwood ranging from looking at levels of energy status of the cow, so if she's allowed to maintain her body condition or if she loses some body condition during gestation, how that influences the offspring. We've also looked at different energy sources, particularly interested in if she's on sometimes we have a choice of high forage diets versus concentrate diets, and that may be dictated by drought or what the cost of those feedstuffs are. So we looked at the difference between a high forage diet versus a concentrate diet on offspring growth and development, and that study's currently being wrapped up. We've followed the offspring through the feedlot into the packing plant, and we've gathered carcass data, and we're wrapping that project up now. We've also looked at levels of protein restriction. Protein is definitely an expensive addition to your nutrition profile, and that's one question we wanted to see is if we restricted protein to those cows during gestation, how does that affect the growth and development? By and large, what we've learned from these research projects in fetal programming is that it tends to be energy that's more impactful on the growth and development of the offspring. And in particular, we found differences in fat development or fat deposition. So maybe some shifts in marbling and subcutaneous fat that could be advantageous. There's still a lot of work to do in this area. We've studied mostly the offspring and going through the kind of a terminal system into the feedlot and the packing plant, but I think there's still great questions to be answered with some of our repro colleagues on, what impact does this have on heifer calves and their longevity in the herd. So I think there's a lot of work that we can continue to do in that area. Another line of research that we've focused and utilized the Cottonwood station on, primarily for backgrounding calves, we've looked at using different implant strategies, timing of implants, and we've also looked at different weaning strategies. A lot of folks are utilizing low stress weaning methods, and they're mostly looking at how that influences the calf right around the time of weaning. We were interested if that low stress weaning method would actually translate to improved performance and carcass merit downstream. So we looked at using nose flaps or blocking their ability to nurse but maintaining connection with the cow. We've looked at fence line weaning and then compared that to kind of an abrupt or conventional weaning method. So, and we certainly found differences in those methods in their short-term weights and average daily gains. However, when we looked at the carcasses and their long-term feedlot performance, there were no differences. So from a producer standpoint, I think that's a positive. You might be concerned about it with your weaning weights, and if those are important, if that's how you're selling your cattle or marketing them, you may want to consider that low-stress weaning method. But if you're retaining ownership, it looks from this study, looks like all three methods were still would still be profitable and work to get equal carcass merit. So.